everybody. Welcome back to Hot Mics. I'm Mike Starner. I'm here with my good friend
What's going on, man? We're here.
Micah
We're doing
Thompson's in
it.
the house.
This has turned into a thing, hasn't it?
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
just an idea anymore. It's
No, it's
it's
been what?
turning into something pretty cool.
Maybe, I guess this will be episode 6, I think.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And it's been a minute, even since you and I have had a chance to catch up too. So this is going to be a good one, man, because man, you've been mashing some miles out there. You've been hitting it, which I know is like your whole MO, but it's been really really busy for you. What I've seen some of the stuff online here recently, and then man, we got close, but we didn't get close enough to do this in person. So man, tell everybody where you've been.
Oh, shoot, brother. Even for me, travel was heavy. So past couple weeks, I'll just go a few weeks back. Since the last time we talked, we had Utility Expo. So Utility Expo is a blast. Folks
Kentucky.
who don't know what Utility Expo is, that's I don't know if it's the world's largest. I would think it's probably the world's largest equipment show centered around utility work and everything from bucket trucks to boring machines to backhoes to wire pulling and even those Bigfoot swamp buggies, whatever they call those things. I mean, if you got money to spend, you'll be able to spend it there. I'll tell you that.
Well, I think you're right. I think it is the biggest one in the country for sure. We had a lot of our management representation there. I've never been, but heard pretty awesome things about it. It's in Kentucky, right?
Yeah, it's always in Louisville every 2 years, and um, people think about it just from the equipment aspect, but there's a lot of things that they do. For example, this year Nika sponsored some education, so we had a little lunch and learn, uh, lineman safety symposium, advancing safety in the electric utility industry, and so we had I did a little keynote, and then followed up with a round table. We had some executives from the industry kind of weighing in and things we've overcome in the past, things that we talk about here on the podcast, things that we've overcome, what we're currently dealing with and what the future looks like. So that was neat to have that perspective. And one thing that I really like, we led a couple roaming classrooms, or they call them field classrooms. So they set it up in advance. You build a topic, and you work with the expo staff. They give you a little walkie-talkie thing, headset. They give your a group, people register. I think it capped out at 30 people. They all get a headset. You get vests on that say field classrooms, and you go right onto the trade show floor, and you have education. So in our case, we led a session called Rescue Ready. So we had one of our members, Aldridge Electric, because it's an equipment show. We thought, hey, let's bring our member here who has a piece of equipment that they use for safety training, and they have a pretty advanced and pretty flexible, agile setup for manhole rescue training, or confined
Confined
space
space.
training. Yeah, and so they have this method that they developed for non-entry, and so they're able to demonstrate that. So that draw a lot of attention. We brought people around to see that, and then we followed up with one of our premier partners. Everybody has their relationships with different vendors. We have a great relationship with Buckingham Manufacturing, and they led us through some aerial rescue methods, and of course they have a setup and a display. So just beyond just the equipment, if you haven't been there, it's it's a convergence, right? I don't know. Remember the old rendezvous where the mountain men would come down out of the mountains? I know you do down there in South Carolina. You come down for
Uh,
the rendezvous.
no, man, no. Like a family reunion at the speakeasy or something, right?
But yeah, you get to see people, and me and you both have this industry focus, so you get to run into people that you've met along, or people that you want to meet. Like wow. And I know you had someone at the rodeo, so that's what came after the expo was the rodeo, and we were supposed to meet up. We were trying hoping to meet up, and that's a long week. I don't know if folks know, but there's a safety conference on the front end. Um, have you ever been to the safety conference?
No, man. And until you said that, I didn't know there was one
Yeah.
affiliated with it. It makes perfect sense for that to be the grounds to host one. And I actually got a message out to a guy from One of the IOUs that I think may be with the Linemen's Rodeo that was talking about the safety conference that they had and some speakers that they had. So I messaged him on LinkedIn to try to, man, see what that's all about. Did
Mhm.
you get a chance to speak?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, so they have a safety committee that plans it. And so, I would encourage anybody who has a good message. They're always looking for fresh speakers. I was able to speak last year. Um, and they want to keep it fresh. So they wouldn't let me on the agenda this year. Of course, I would take it if they gave it to me. But they did give me a chance to kick it off, which, humbled, very humbled to be able to, get in front of those folks. A lot of the people in attendance are linemen, so being able to talk to line or apprentices or even some pre-apprentices. And me and you have talked before, like talking to the new guys. Man, what a
Yeah.
blast. But, tell me about the rodeo, man.
So I was there. We passed. I think we you flew out and I flew in. So we had that kind of works, right? Hot
Yeah,
mics
we
were
passed
there
the
for the whole
baton.
thing. Yeah, hot mics were there for the whole thing, just not together. It was my first rodeo. Haha, stood up there. It was ridiculous, man. Um, it was really wild. And this weekend, the past weekend, going to that, really, it really changed my life. Like no joke.
Yeah.
The people I got to meet, the things that I got to experience. I had my wife with me for the first time on a road trip like that, which was huge, man. For my peace of mind, my stability, my security blanket, kind of getting her more involved with what we're doing. And but I was there not just to see the rodeo, man. I had a cool opportunity to, make this relationship with Andy Price, American Safety, and the International Lineman Museum a few years ago through just collecting junk and antiques and being a history nut. And if you'd have told me, man, that I'd have ever been afforded this opportunity, I'd have lost the farm on it, man. But they asked me to be on the board. And so I'm on the board for the International Lineman Museum. With that came, hey, we want you at the rodeo because we induct a class of Hall of Fame industry giants every year at the rodeo. So, man, I had a chance to be at the Hall of Fame dinner with Andy, the whole board from the museum, and our inductees. And when I'm talking about giants in our space. We inducted, it was crazy. It was crazy. We inducted Mr. Andy Batty, president of Buckingham. We inducted uh, George Brooks. Uh, a lot of people out there climbing his stuff, but they don't know the story behind that dude and what he did for people like me and you when it comes to safety rules. So we told his story. We inducted a gentleman, Mr. Freddie, who was the first African American lineman at PG&E.
Wow.
Two lineman Hall of Fame trainers from Georgia, one from the cooperative space, one from the investor-owned space. Danny Rains, shout outs Danny Rains and
Yeah, I
Mr.
saw
Micah
that too.
from Georgia EMC. Man, it was just crazy. And then the grandson, we didn't induct him, but Tips Tool Company. I don't want to chase this rabbit for people who are sick of my nerdy history stuff, but A.B. Chance bought Tips Tools in 1937, and Tips' grandson was there at that dinner, and we
Wow.
got to induct him on. He stood there on behalf of his grandfather. So just a wild weekend to be a part of that. Then go see the rodeo, the scale of it, the size of it, really mind blowing for me and what we're trying to do with our rodeo back home. Just met some amazing people that I've seen online, doing what me and you are doing, trying to get the word out there. People were like, oh, hey, I know you. That was weird for the first time ever. Like, I know you're used to it. But it was just so cool, man. And then through all that, um, it was my anniversary, 18th wedding anniversary. So
Congratulations,
spending that
bro.
with my wife in that environment was ridiculous, dude. I owe everything to her and my creator. So then spoke at a co-op Monday morning. Did the history generational leadership presentation. I did at Safety Summit at a co-op, Southwest Electric Co-op there in Springfield, and then flew home. It was a whirlwind. It was crazy,
Man,
crazy,
but
and I got 30 more stories all embedded through that.
That's good. We need stories for this peer cast here. Um, I want to go back to the vendors, right? You talked about, the folks that were inducted who were, maybe they, maybe made tools, maybe they made safety equipment and a recognition of their contributions to the industry. This is a little Buckingham story. So when I started at Nika, my partner who was here, Wes Wheeler, who's our inside safety guy, he said, "Hey, listen, I'm going to go introduce you to the guys at Buckingham." I said, "Well, that sounds like fun. We'll go up, take a tour of the plant there. We'll shake some hands and maybe we'll grab dinner." So I said, "Well, I'm all right with that." So we drove up Binghamton, New York. It's not that far of a drive, about five hours up from Maryland, where I'm at. And we got there, and it was getting a little later in the evening. He said, "Well, we're gonna get dinner tonight." And so, walked into this local restaurant. They had like a little back room set aside for us. Had a larger group, so they set a back room off to the side for us. And and I'm sitting there, and it's me and Wes. It's Andy Batty. It's his son Tim. Uh, it was Kyle. It was Ryan. So all their folks were there. And I'm sitting, and I texted one of my buddies that I came up with. I said, "I'm having dinner with the guy that made the stuff that's hanging in my locker." And we're just breaking bread, talking. What a great industry we are in, and how regular these people are that they'll sit down and just have a dinner with you to get to introduce you. It's not, I didn't just come in the factory and they just waved out the door at me. They took time out of the night to have dinner with. So, you know, all the companies we just talked about, that are instrumental in our industry and helping us not just be effective but safe, man. It's good to see those guys get recognition.
Mr. Batty, with what he did, literally revolutionizing how bucket work, fall arrest systems look, talking to the IEEE back, in the 90s and the ANSI standard people about what we've got to do a better job protecting our people, man, and just being on the forefront of a lot of that. Just ridiculous, the impact that that guy's had. And he's so nice and he's so personal and he's so genuine with his time. And he allowed me to kind of fan out a little bit and meet him and introduce him to my wife and meet his wife. But then he was just so gracious with his time and he wanted to talk. And we talked a little antiques. I got some old climbers, that are from way back in the day. So it was amazing, and I had a similar experience, man. At our inductee ceremony, we had a lot of support. We're trying to get support for the rodeo. Anybody that wants to partner with the rodeo, could reach out to me or any of the board members. Price of the Lime Ranch. It's just from Shelby, Carolina, down to Leesburg, Florida. So that's where the Lyman Ranch will be, where the Lyman Museum is, where the Lyman Hall of Fame will be, and also the Fallen Lyman Foundation is going to have
Mhm.
their own representation and memorial there too. But like some of the partners that we've been able to meet, you said it. I'm looking over here at Andy Batty, and there's the grandson of Tips Tools, and there's representation from the local union shop where George Brooks started in Detroit, 77 over there. And over here's the president of Ohio State University, and we got Bill Bosch from the NLC. And I'm looking at my wife like, I was in a ditch 4 years ago pulling pipe together. What is happening? And it's just a testament to the blessings that we have to be in the space we're in and network with the people we do. And man, I tell guys, I just did a generational, history class for our apprenticeship last Friday, and I told them I was like, this thing called line work will take you farther than you ever imagined. Beyond just monetary value. I never would have dreamed sitting in that training center 20 years ago I'd be where I'm at, and it's because of this environment. It's because of, and I think you and I hit on it a lot, man. We're breaking the barriers between the IOUs and the contractors and the cooperative space. So it's just awesome, awesome. I had a similar experience to you, like imposter syndrome. Like, why am I?
Well, you think this industry is bigger, and it is a big industry, but it's actually small. You know, the people that you run into, the people who are contributing, and it's really about heart and caring and purpose and connection. And the folks that, being your brother's keeper, that's more than just a tagline. It's more than just a job site safety slogan. It's about the industry, and when we can connect and figure out what we have in common and figure out how we could chase down these loose ends and tie them up, we can get a lot of things done. And I know you've been spending a lot of time visiting with
Dude, you
local training facilities, right? You've been out there, right? Where you at right now?
Yeah, so before I shout out where I'm on the road right now, man, you kind of hit on something that you and I talked about a few conversations ago about, encouraging safety professionals, to do what they do and any advice that you or I may have. And I just shared with the group that I'm with this morning. So I'm at Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Cooperative Association Training Center here in Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm actually part of the NRECA is hosting a area administrators meeting for their RESAP program and their Commitment to Zero program. So I'm 30 feet away in another room of some major players, man, again, that are just going to shape this industry moving forward, and about 20 states represented. Ken Mackin's in there. Uh, Rusty from Federated is showing his presence too and his support for their initiative. And I just shared a lot, the next thing, man, what we're seeing in South Carolina, what you're seeing is the shift to personal relationships and having the courage to move your instinct, follow what people need, and listening to what they need. Compliance huge, and we can't forget that. But man, when's the last time we've asked our linemen, asked our people, what do you need? What do you want more of? What are you not getting? What are you lacking? What are
Hmm.
we falling short on? And we're seeing it across the states, man, at least from a cooperative perspective of, yeah, we're getting away from this the way we've always done it. And one of the guys said in there, said it was a John Maxwell quote, um, if the horse is dead, get off it.
Right.
And then another guy spoke up, Johnny Hendricks, VP of Statewide from Missouri. He said, I got off a dead horse one time, but I still hid behind it, like the old
That's deep. Yeah.
Westerns, and took my shot. And then it just dawned on me, and so it's like, how many of us are playing it safe with training?
No, you're
Think
right.
about that.
Yeah.
We got this old model, this old compliance slide deck, this old fall arrest slide deck, this old lockout tag out slide deck, and if we're not careful, we'll be the ones complacent.
Hmm.
We'll be the ones not pushing up against the innovation. We'll be the ones afraid of change. We'll be the ones who kind of hold things back. So it was encouraging just to be in that room, you know, that does when you talk about those meets, those family reunions, it gets you just jacked up. I'm assuming you're getting the same thing where you're at because you're on the road too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, currently, well, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example of how it all ties together. So this week, we're in DC at our main office and we're conducting our NICA Safety Professionals Institute. It's sort of a, I don't know if boot camp is the right word, but it's not, you're not going to come out the other side as a credentialed safety professional, but you'll know what you need to know. So the idea was give our members, sort of an introduction to safety. If you have a new responsibility, maybe you just got promoted up from the field. Maybe you're a project manager and you have to have some awareness of safety management. Maybe you're from this, maybe you're a safety professional, but you don't know the trade. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of get you here, talk about managing safety in the world of NICA, and to build a network. And speaking of networks, one of the presenters we have here is Perrin Nicholas, and we both know Perrin from our CLCP class, and he administers and facilitates a great program there. And now that one there, you do come out the other side credentialed, and and you learn a lot. Now ours isn't that robust, but I said, listen, we got to put parent in front of our people. We need to have a common language. We need to have these touch points. Our, nationally, our organizations working together, that's great. But just for our members personally to meet folks who are out there doing the right things, and one thing it does, it takes away some of the stigma. We have these silos that we operate in. You kind of laid to it earlier, but I'm working for the investor owner, or I'm a contractor or co-op, or I'm union or non-union. These silos we put ourselves in. At the end of the day, we all want the same dang thing.
Man, there's so much, layover and comparison and analogy or metaphor, whatever you want to call it, and what we do as a profession and just life in general. And it's literally like if you had fire, let's use hot mics. Why would you not want to share that with the next village
Right.
unless you know the next village is going to use it to set your camp on fire? Like it's food, you know what I'm saying? It's knowledge and man, the fact that Perrin's there is cool.
Hmm.
That's a two-way thing because it's going to create opportunity for maybe some guys in your space to follow your footsteps into that CLCP program. They may not
Yeah.
have even known that Perrin can facilitate with anybody in the country when it comes to leadership and how this goes out. So that's really cool, man. Part silos I only heard just a few years ago. It's a real thing, and you may be right. It's an industry thing too.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever use this analogy on this during our talks, but you ever seen the old school? You go to like the farm museum or some Heritage Days type festival, and they got the person that's making hand dipped candles, and they got like a bucket of wax, right, or kettle of wax. It's all melted, and they take like a stick with all these wicks hanging from it, and they dip it down in the wax, and they pull it out. It's just a little bit of wax on the string. You can't just keep going in and out fast because it'll just keep melting it. So what you do is you dip it in, you pull it out, you let it get hard, then you put it back in there, and then before you know it, you have a candle, right? So I almost feel like that's sort of like what we need to do in this industry is the more exposures we get, the more context you get, the stronger your candle gets, and the brighter the flame gets. Bring some hot mics analogy back into it, and you're lighting the way for the next generation, right? And that's what we really need to be doing is paying it forward. Man, the pipeline, the supply and demand for linemen, we need to be locked together and bring these guys up right because if not, we're going to see it in the statistics, and we're going to see people having some serious outcomes that we don't want to see. So let's do it together.
Yeah, and in one of my presentations that I do for leadership, I try to wrestle with the question of what do you do with that guy who doesn't want to go? What do you do with that guy who doesn't say yes? Like everybody's not going to say yes. Everybody's not going to hear Mike and Mike on hot mics and hoorah, and everybody in our organizations don't do it. We have managers that don't do it, linemen that don't do it. And man, how do you affect those people because they're the ones who do the day-to-day change? And that's another like challenge, for like you and myself trying to. I don't want to say infiltrate, but man, impact true change and what that looks like. It's not, it's not just the guys that are, the ones that we're talking about, the seasoned guys. Oh, I can't change them, man. I gotta tell you, we just did a superintendent performance conference a few weeks ago, and I only found out this last Friday, from one of the guys out at our school. He's like, "Hey, have you talked to so and so from so and so co-op?" I said, "No." He said, "Man, all them guys are mad. All those young guys are mad." And I was like, "Why are they mad?" They were like, "Because old man so and so came home from the conference different."
Mm.
And he came home and said, "Boys, I've really let y'all down, and it may have been like that last week, but it's not going to be like that on my watch anymore." And now they are doing it by the book, bro, and not just because.
Yeah.
And they're not just saying it in a safety room and then going out in the field and still doing what we always do. It's not lip service. And that was the easiest thing Friday. Man, that makes last 4 years worth it. if you can go back home and say, boys, I'm sorry, and it takes humility to do that, which is something that I think our industry struggles with if we're not careful, because
Right.
there's a lot of award trophies and shiny belt buckles and all this other stuff. It takes a humble kind of dude to go, I've been wrong and I've been leading you guys wrong, and I want to change that. And what a great compliment to get. That man, all the guys at the co-op hate this dude. We want the old version back.
Well, change is hard. You get used to a certain way, and human beings, they like the easy route, right? We're built for energy efficiency, right? And so if we don't have to waste time with something, we're prone to that. And so it takes discipline. It takes and it takes and, over time you drift away from what you're supposed to be doing, and before you know it, you're an old timer that has all these bad habits. But having or a new guy that's learning bad habits along the way, but um, having that humility to be able to recognize it's time for a change. That's what you're talking about. These guys
Let me
that
ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. All right, I want to see if anybody gets any traction on this in our comments or anywhere. All right, I'm going to ask you this for anybody listening. Have you ever in your career, and I've asked myself this a lot, and anybody, have you ever in your career said, well, I did that because old man so and so did that?
yeah, I know I am.
And so I asked that because you and I are turning into that guy, and people are watching. And if you live with a day-to-day awareness of you may not see something, but somebody's watching what you do, like your children mirror what we do and others, and you can't control everything, and people make their own decisions, but our influence is visual too. And I don't want to go anywhere, thinking that some kids, well, Micah never did that. Micah didn't care about that safety rule, or man, your
Mhm.
influence goes such a long way, beyond just lip service. So you ever asked that question? You ever did anything like that? And I'll
Yeah.
challenge anybody else to let us know.
Well, I think what's worse than that, and or maybe exaggerates that problem is you don't say that shamefully. You're proud of it. You say, "Oh man, I can do that faster." Oh, so and so taught me a way to do that faster, or I didn't have to do as much work, or I don't have to do that stupid ass thing. And it's not a sense of shame. They're proud of the shortcuts or the ways that they've been able to work around. So you have to overcome that too, right? There's a thing out there where people can kind of brag about how they get away with stuff sometimes, not recognizing, not fully understanding what could go wrong and what that long lasting impact would be.
I don't know. All right, teach me something, man. And if I've said this on here, I apologize before, but I love asking this. I just asked it in a room last week. Name another industry that brags about near miss or near death, like the electrical space. And
No, I'm sure.
I'll give you my scenario, right, for that. It's like everybody's got that. Man, I was working on an outlet at my house over the weekend, bro, and that thing tore me up. And if you say that in a break room or a load dock somewhere, it's gonna spark somebody to go, oh, yeah, that's bad. I had one time where I almost, and then somebody's gonna say, yeah, but 277, 480. Now that's you ain't lived till you've been hit by 277, 4. And then it's a nobody else in that I can think of goes, you don't hear plumbers, man, almost it was 6 inches of water. Oh, I was drowned in 20 inches of water. Oh, you hadn't lived. You've been in salt. Like what? Nobody brags about falling off scaffolding. Nobody brags about the loads they dropped with their crane. I, it's just us.
Right.
We're the only ones treated like a rite of, and I'm enamored by that. I'm amazed by that. Oh yeah, you almost died. Me too. And then it's a rite of passage if you're not careful.
Well,
It's
of the
crazy.
things, one of the questions I always ask these guys sometimes is, what's the story you tell the new guys to scare them? That's where your risk is in the organization. So, you know, boy, it's kind of like what you're saying. You get into this, boy, and whatever that story is that you use to scare the new guys, there's risk in your organization. Figure out what that is and figure out how to fix that.
That's good, Mike. That's good. That's good.
So what's
I
next,
like
brother? What are
that.
you getting into next?
Well, we'll be here for 2 days. I'm speaking in the morning, just doing history of our industry, no leadership perspective. I'll try not to chase that rabbit. They just want me to kind of walk through the timeline of our industry. So I'm going to go all the way back, 1800s, and get us up to at least where the co-op started in 1935. Then I'll be home. I got some rodeo conversations coming up this week for our local rodeo that our statewide's putting on in March. Already talking about that, but I got some cool ideas that came from the national rodeo.
Send me
And
some dates,
then,
bro. I want to come.
yeah, so March 2021, 2026.
2021.
And we're cool. We facilitate all the rodeo, and it's did by one of our cooperatives. Normally, we have a host cooperative, and this year we have two co-ops hosting. Santee Electric Co-op in Kingstree, South Carolina, and then Black River Electric Co-op in Sumter. And we're going to meet out on an industrial site off I-95 here at Santee. Um, and March 2021. Super stoked about that. And we already got some planning meetings coming up about logistics and site work. Going to get Tammy Kent and her team are coming
Oh, that's good.
Thursday to help us with maybe some base camp stuff and facilities. And it's growing a lot. It's not a national rodeo, but it's really cool. We got representation from all 18 co-ops generally, and um, I think last year we probably had 15, 20 teams and 75 maybe apprentice. So it's a pretty good turnout for us. And I met her on a phone call at midnight when Hurricane Helene, and that's how we met in my driveway, trying to find our co-op some help. And her one source restoration team and the ATK group just did everything they could, bent over backwards for us, and I love her for that. And never had a chance to meet her in person till the rodeo last week. And I told her I was like, we're gonna meet each other one day and hug this out. And I got my hug last week, so I love Tammy and their whole team, Mr. Jeff and everybody. It's great. Yeah, that's Thursday, and then next week I'm on the road at a co-op, Palmetto Electric. Going to do safety meetings down there, and then I speak at the managers Member Service Association in Savannah, Georgia.
So,
So where you at?
yeah, next week I'll be in Des Moines, Iowa. So we're doing a safety summit, safety leadership summit called Top Gun, and it's invitation only. You don't get to come to this thing unless you're invited. And so it's for, everything from, an aspiring foreman, a journeyman lineman who's got some leadership capability, run a crew, all the way up to your superintendent. And it's a call to action. So it's going to be 3 days of hardcore stuff. We're going to wake up early in the morning, 5 in the morning, and do calisthenics before we start our meeting. And when we get in the meeting, it's going to be high energy. It's going to be, look, this is you're not just here to like eat scones and drink some coffee. This is call to action, and so it's our first time putting it on. Missouri Valley JTC over there. It's a brainchild. A guy named Lee Conducey put this thing together, and I'm excited. I get to speak at it, and hopefully I'll take some notes and let you know how that is because it's a different model.
Man, I love that. I'm very excited hearing about that, dude. That's killer.
And we were talking before we started recording. I want to have you out at our safety conference, man. I want to have you out there, and so keep that on your calendar, May of next year.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
talk. And so,
Safety summit's coming up too with the NRECA.
yeah, I'll see you there, hopefully. So we're all out doing the
Yeah,
thing,
man.
man.
Well,
Oh,
it sounds like you've already made some pretty cool contacts for us to have another special guest coming up. We got a pretty special interview coming up, do we not?
yeah, I met a fella at rodeo. I was coming out of the elevator. He said, yeah, I kind of recognize you. And I talked to him about who I was. And he's a safety guy at Jackson EMC, uh, Jose Sagado. And so we're going to try to get him. He's got a good perspective. He's got a big heart. He's trying to make a difference. And so I want to hear, what making a difference means to him. and what kind of things he's doing or what kind of things he'd like to do. And honestly, what can we do to help him?
Sure, man. Sure. I think if it's the same Jose, I didn't get a chance to meet him officially yet, but I think it's the same guy that I've seen online. Don't quote me on that, but I'm excited to meet another. Man, I love what you said. You didn't even lead with another industry expert. You led with a guy who's got what and understands what the next wave is. So, man, I'm stoked. Can't wait to see you guys on that interview. Can't wait to see if anybody gives us any ideas or anybody wants to jump on. I challenge you to look, at those questions that I asked Mike. Man, throw some stuff in the comments. What everybody's got that story. Think of another industry that brags like we do. We got to break that stigma to bring this thing full circle, like you said, Mike. We're tearing down these walls. So I love this fun. Be safe out there and get us out of here, and I'll say goodbye to everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, man. So, look, you guys listening to this thing, we appreciate the fact that you are. It's not overly produced. It's just two guys on a Zoom call talking about what's happening. Micah's somewhere in the sticks with a little bit choppy reception, but we're good. We're able to get this conversation going, but we can't do it alone. We need you guys to participate. We need to hear from you. You know, we need to know what you're doing. This is a peer cast. We say it all the time. And there's nothing special about us except we've been around enough to build some connections, some relationships, and everybody can do that. How about start with joining us on Hot Mics? Get your perspective out there. Let people know what you're all about. And with that, get us out of here. We'll see you next time on Hot Mics.
If you can hear me, I cannot.
How about now?
Hey, there you are.
There we go. It was a little technical difficulties.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay, is it overbearing? Because I'm trying to do my got a mic for hot mics. I'm a pro now.
Well, the only thing is you're a little bit laggy. I can hear you.
Laggy. Okay, it's Bluetooth. I wonder if that's it. Is it real bad? If it is, I'll go back to my mic on my device.
No, it's the video and everything, so it must be the Wi-Fi.
Well, let me get on the Wi-Fi because I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the cell service on my iPad. How you doing, man?
Doing good, brother. Here in DC this week for our NICA Safety Professionals Institute. So it's our sort of like our version of the CLCP.
Yeah,
And we invited Perrin to come. Perrin's down there right now doing his risk
I
management talk.
just shouted out your post. I just saw your post and jumped on there with it.
Up. I want to get you involved at some point.
And that'd be killer. So I'm not far from you. I'm in Starkville. Take care of this Wi-Fi. Sorry about that.
What you got going on now? You connected?
Yeah, just. I took a photo of the Wi-Fi, so I'm not far from you. If you can hear me, right here in Charlottesville, outside of somewhere in Virginia, in the hills,
Okay.
at a meeting myself. So I'm remote as well.
Your sound's a little low. I don't know if there's
Yeah,
anything you can do
yeah.
about that.
Just I'm working on. Sorry.
Yeah, man, we got
Trying to
plenty of time.
trying to find this Wi-Fi. Okay, there it is. So I'm at the Virginia, Maryland, Delaware Training Center,
Yeah, I saw that.
and they have a extremely difficult Wi-Fi password.
It's like,
Come on, it's buffering. It's buffering. How long will you be in DC?
just this week.
The whole week.
Yeah, we have a 3-day program, so it kicks off today, and
Okay.
we'll have a reception this evening, and tomorrow we have a session, and then a dinner, and then we close it out on Thursday. Back home Friday, take care of some loose ends, and then back on it again.
Mm. Are you speaking?
Yeah, we try not to be dominating the agenda and bring in a lot of guests. That's why we have pairing on. We try to get a lot of our members to lead some discussions. So it's members leading members. We like that. We'll bring in some of our premier partners, vendors. Buckingham's going to do our fall protection. Altec will come in and do our aerial lift, aerial equipment safety.
Right.
Um, and you know James McGowan, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to come in and do our grounding, bonding, isolate, insulate. So we got some
That's
ringers.
heavy hitters. That's some heavy hitters. That's good. Well, I don't know what's wrong with my iPad. It does not want to get on the Wi-Fi. Forgive me. I'm going to
Well,
jump on my computer.
it's not that laggy right now.
Can you hear me okay or no?
Well, the volume's a little low. I got my speakers all the way up, but if I sit here like this, I can hear you.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. If my connection's good, I may try this mic again. I don't
You don't travel with one of these?
know. Do you? Apparently you do.
Yeah. Well, I knew we were going to be here. We got the advantage. We have this little studio room here. It's got, the perfect lighting. It's got the little green screen backdrop. I can't even hear you now. You must have messed something up.
To this mic. Can you hear me?
Ooh, ooh, that's sweet. That's a sweet spot.
Is that better?
That's beautiful. I think we're cooking
All
with
right, cool.
gas, man. You're not
And I
lagging. You
guess
got
my
good
signal.
sound.
I don't know what the deal is. I may have to like peel this door open or something, but I'm good if you're good. If you're saying it's not terrible, I'm ready. I got my computer as a backup.
All right, man. All
So
right,
where
everybody,
do you where do
welcome
you want?
back. I was going to go hot on you.
No, my bad, my bad, my bad. I was
No.
just quick question.
Yeah.
Is this going to be our travels and an update and a catch up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
I'd like to have.
probably
I met that guy at rodeo. I would love to have because he was a co-op guy. I know we're like trying to get somebody from the co-ops on as the next guest.
yeah.
It was a good perspective he had. He's trying to do good things. He's marching up a mountain.
Jose, is Jose?
Jose.
Yeah,
He was from
that's right.
Jackson. I guess it was Jackson. I guess Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson. Maybe maybe out west. Jackson Hole. Jackson EMC or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know
All
if
right,
that
so
rings
we can
a bell.
forecast that and then just catch up on a month worth of crazy travel and rodeo stuff and conference stuff. And yeah, I'm down for wherever we go. I'll highlight where I'm at. You can highlight where you're at for sure.
Yeah. Well, we both have a lot of good stories to tell. So the past couple weeks, and we converged a little bit, even though we didn't get to rub elbows at rodeo. And so I can hit the front end of that, right? I can talk about the safety conference and why that's important and the mixed crowd we had there. You could talk about the rodeo and the trade show and your internet, your role now on the board of directors for the museum.
Museum.
I think that would be
Yeah,
cool.
cool.
Um, and
I
then we
like
can
it.
finish off just talking about what's coming up, and we can lead in the next episode with Jose.
Sweet. All right, I won't cut you off anymore.
All right.